So I've been looking at Hanuman from an analogy perspective. Like Hanuman is, for me, the embodiment of a transformed mind. And so we wanted to just have a conversation around how does the mind come up, like where does the mind come from, and how does it move from immature and indisciplined to transformed. And so we are looking at that through the story of Hanuman, if we look at Hanuman as a transformed mind. So we started with how was he conceived, how did he come to be. And so the story of Hanuman starts when his mother, who is a celestial being that is cursed to come and be born on earth.
Because coming to earth is a curse.
Is a curse, like, guys, you'll be cursed.
You got cursed. I used to be so pissed when
We are the cursed lot. It's like you've been relegated to like the shanties of the cosmos, you know, like maximum prison or something. By the way, huku nikamitia cosmos. So akakuja huku and she was like, me, I want to go back home to my, to my celestial abode. And then now she started to pray to Shiva. And she did her spiritual austerities to Shiva, and Shiva heard her. And he was like, I'm going to be born through you. I'm going to be your son, so that I can come and participate in the Lila with Ram, Lord Ram. Because Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, one, the Trimurti, are tight like this. I don't know how to like that, yeah. So he's like, oh, Vishnu is coming as Ram, I'm gonna come as Hanuman. So that's how Hanuman, then what happens? There's this king of Ayodhya who's doing Ayagna because he doesn't have children. So he's doing Ayagna, a fire ceremony, so that he can get kids. And so the god of fire comes from the Yagna, and he gives the king some pudding. And he's like, give to your wives and they will conceive children. So as he's giving, Vayu, the wind god, blows some of the prasad of that pudding to Anjani. She was called Anjana or Anjana? Anjana, yeah, Hanuman's mom. And when she eats that pudding, she conceives Hanuman. So Hanuman is born. His father is the wind god Vayu and Anjani the mother, or Anjana. And then he's a small, mischievous monkey. And then what happens? One day he's just chilling. He sees something yellow in the sky. He's like, oh, that's a nice orange or whatever fruit. I'm gonna eat it. And he leaps for it. So he was born, remember, he was born, he's a divine being. Because this pudding is actually the divine essence, essentially. So he has all the divine qualities, is very strong. So when he leaps to go and eat that sun, all the demigods know that he's going to get what he's aiming at. And so the Indra strikes him with a thunderbolt and crushes his jaw, and he falls down.
So Indra is the god of the king of the gods.
Yeah.
Then another interesting thing is the pudding. This king who was given the pudding from the fire ceremony is where he gave this pudding to his wives, and that is what helped the conception of Ram. Everyone, I think, in the world knows Sri Ram. So, in essence, the same pudding that Sri Ram and his brothers came from is the same pudding, supposedly, that even Hanuman came from. Yeah. So, the God essence, that's what you meant by the God essence, is the same. Like, Narayana gives, also, from Narayana comes Shiva, comes all this other.
Yeah, exactly. So he's struck with a thunderbolt. He falls down. His dad is mad. He's like, you did this to my child. He's mad at the other demigods, and he's like, I'm not going to blow. So he removes all the air from the cosmos, and the whole world is suffocating. And so they go and beg him to forgive them, and he says, I will only forgive you if you give your powers to my son. So all the gods gave a bit of their powers to Hanuman. But then the sages were like, this one is mischievous, he's naughty, he's indisciplined. So they cast him to forget his powers until somebody reminded him. Now the mom is aware of all of this, and she knows how strong and how, like, what the qualities of her son are. And so she's like, strength without knowledge is incomplete. So you have to find a guru, someone to teach you true knowledge. And so they looked and they were like, now who is it that can become a guru for this one who has all the powers of the demigods? And so they decided Surya would be the best place, because Surya is always going around the world and knows a lot. And so they went to Surya, and Surya was like, I can't be your guru because I don't have time to sit and teach you. I'm always going around the world. It's my dharma. I cannot stop.
Surya is the sun god.
Surya is the sun god. And so now Hanuman was like, no, I will move with you. But because he was devoted and he knows the respect for the guru, he could not walk beside him and he could not walk behind him. So he had to face him and, walk backwards. So he had to walk reverse. So he was being taught as he was going reverse.
So,
yes,
let me say something. This story came from the fact that in the morning, we were at the temple and we were serving, we are still at the temple.
Yeah.
And we were discussing the mind, and we observed that squeezy, we've started noticing that the mind is a separate entity from us. And the fact that we are coaches, we keep telling people that, like, oh, you're not your mind. You need to be able to catch yourself when you are just about to get riled up or etc. But it's very difficult until you do. So we made that observation that now we are able to separate the mind and see the mind as a separate entity from who we are. Now that's when we started noticing Hanuman is the representation of the mind, but now a transformed mind. But we started from his conception so that we see the transition of the mind, how it starts. Yeah. So that's the breaking down, like where does the mind, what is even the mind, where does it come from, and how does it get transformed? Yeah.
So at the very beginning, if you look at the story of Hanuman, the mom is Anjana. Anjana comes from the heavenly abode and she's been cast down here. So Anjana stands for the soul, and the soul desires to go back to where it's coming from, which is, Vaikunta, to God. And that's really where it all begins. The soul's desire to get back to God is what gives birth to the whole genesis of the mind, because now, as she's begging to Shiva to grant her the grace to go back, Shiva is so moved by her devotion that he's like, you know what? Actually, why don't you become a channel of my own, story that I want to play in this divine play, So she becomes a servant of Shiva through which he can come into this world and play his lila. So it's like the soul, when it is totally devoted, because it's eternally devoted, like the soul is an eternal servant of the divine, it creates the opportunity for the divine to come through. Now the divine comes through the mind, because now when that pudding came in, that is the potency of God, that's the power, the God essence itself, and it was moved by Vayu. Vayu is
Life force.
Pranal, the life force. So the God essence plus the life force was the mind.
Shakti.
Yeah.
So Shakti is the power.
Potency.
It's potency.
Yeah, it's potency.
Potency. Shakti is powerful. It's potency.
Yeah.
The very essence of potency. Shakti.
It's Shakti.
Then the Vayu is life force, energy.
Force.
So Shakti plus, it's like giving life to
the potency.
Yes. And that becomes the mind.
That's the mind, yeah. So the mind comes in all those qualities of God, like it's immortal,
Let's actually read.
Yeah, so the gods, when they apologized to Vayu, they were like, fine. So they gave the mind immense strength
The mind has a lot of strength.
immortality.
You can't kill the mind.
Yeah, you can't kill the mind. Wisdom and eloquence, invincibility and speed, and healing powers. There's this part where he's sprinting up the sky going to eat the sun because he lacks knowledge. He thinks it's an orange. He does not know. It's like us, when we have an immature, indisciplined mind, sometimes the things we aspire to do and to achieve are actually going to destroy us and everyone around us, because we don't have the knowledge to know that this sun is there for a reason. This is not even a fruit. You know, we have a certain ignorance around us, and because we have so much power, even the gods know that we are going to achieve. You know, the gods knew that he's actually going to reach the sun and he's gonna eat the sun. So it's not a question of whether you can achieve what you aspire to or not. That's a guarantee. You have the power to achieve anything you put your mind to. Like, you have the capacity to achieve it, and even the gods know. But now, do you have the knowledge? You know,
Or
do you have the knowledge?
Don't have the knowledge, that power
Yeah.
of the mind is going to be distracting.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we've seen it happening.
Exactly. So I think that is what the mother saw. But then there's a beauty about this story, because it's his leaping, it's his ambition and it's his aspiration that caused him to get these extra powers from these gods, because they saw he was using his innate power. Remember that. He was using his innate power as a divine being, you know, a divinely conceived being. That's what he was using to leap to the sky and all that. But then when he was struck down, that's usually what happens. When the journey of the mind begins, it's a setup. There's a way your life is set up. There's a point that will reach. You will be struck down from your sprint of achievement. And as you fall down, something will change within you. And you will, it's like you will qualify to get some certain powers that will be activated for your mission. Because I think it was all part of the story that he sprints, that he's struck down, that he gets these powers from these demigods, because these powers were to be used later, as we'll see in another part of the story. But it's like whatever we call tragedy, when your highest aspirations are thwarted by some force of nature in your life. You know, like for us, we were just talking yesterday about our finances being in ICU.
How we have been thwarted.
Yeah. How our efforts have been thwarted and we are left limping. You know, even Jacob was fought with an angel and his hip bone was broken and he got a limp. But from that limp, he got a blessing. It's the same story. It's like he was struck, his jaw was struck, but as a result of this, he got all the powers from all the demigods. Now, the next phase was he needs knowledge so that he can be able to wield these powers that he has. So for us, in our lives, sometimes we are stopped in our tracks as we are aspiring what the world has told us is good to aspire to, is because we are always aspiring for the shiny object in the sky, you know, like the position, the material acquisition, the relationships. That's what the mind is leaping for. But then when you're stopped in your tracks, many of us think it's a tragedy, but it's not a tragedy. It's a blessing in disguise, because when stuff like that, when shit hits the fan, by the way, you acquire powers. Like the patience I have now, I didn't have before. The insight I have, I did not have before. The creativity and innovation I had, like I've even managed to create my own meals out of poverty. You know, like the sons of you're like, oh, kumbe hizi zinaweza enda pamoja. And everyone is like, eish, you can cook. So there's powers you get as a result of, you know, these tragedies that happen in your life that create the opportunity for your mind to be transformed. And so that is the story of Hanuman. Like that, the story of Hanuman is the story of your mind. So coming to the issue of the guru now,
Which
Hanuman
is where
has,
we are at,
yeah.
actually.
By the way, that's where we are in our story. the mom was like, all this strength, all these things, all these powers you have, and even us as human beings, sometimes we are looking for powers, like all the clairs. We want all the clairs. I don't know what we want to do with them. Yeah.
I think to feel good.
Yeah, I think that still on that, it's still that aspiration.
Yeah.
Of like
become better than.
Yeah, better than, exactly. Even the money we want to be better than, because we think that things, external things and even powers make people better than others because we don't have knowledge. So she said, you know what, go and get knowledge. Now this business of being taking Surya as the guru, what we did not know is that Surya is actually an embodiment of time. So time is the guru of the mind. Time teaches you patience. Time teaches you what is true and what is not true, because illusions fall with time. Time teaches you who you are and who you are not. Time teaches you what is important and what is not, So that is what happened. And for Hanuman to learn from Surya, he had to operate in a very different way, because Surya was not going to stop his dharma to teach him. So he had to organize himself if he thought that it was important to be taught by Surya. So it's the same thing when you find a guru, or rather when the guru finds you, because it's the guru who finds you. It's not him to organize himself around you and your time schedules and your seasons and everything. It's to you to do whatever it takes to learn from him. And in this case, Hanuman had to move backwards all the time while learning.
You know how that has applied in our lives? It's exactly
like we've moved backwards.
We've literally had to stop the trajectory of our lives.
Yeah.
And we are living opposite.
Yes.
Literally, we are just doing everything that our minds are like, are you serious?
And even the minds around us, they're like,
you people,
what's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're actually moving backwards. And it started by us wanting our guru to organize his life around our needs.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you understand where we are coming from?
Exactly. Like, it's like we want him to serve us.
Yeah.
Like, you serve us by organizing yourself around, like, this is my life and the expectation of my life. Please rubber stamp and make it happen. But now it's like, no, hello. He's not stopping his dharma. He's doing whatever he's doing for everyone in the whole world.
Imagine.
And so you have to do whatever it takes to tap into the knowledge that he has to give, which means that you have to allow yourself to actually live a life that looks opposite than what you had aspired. That is what Hanuman did, to get imparted the grace and the knowledge by his guru. He moved backwards until he ujue ana move backward. Reverse, first of all, you need a lot of awareness to move backwards, and then you're listening also.
Imagine.
And you're internalizing. So that's kind of...
And also it's a sacrifice, because I remember he really needed that lesson, the lesson Surya was giving.
Yeah.
He really begged him to become his guru, because Surya had refused.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm willing to do anything.
Exactly.
I'm gonna give away my comforts. I'm gonna just surrender everything. That's true surrender.
Yeah, it's very true. Actually, it's true surrender. And you know what? He was not surrendering because he was weak. He had all the powers of the demigods. He had divine originality. Like, he was conceived of the divine.
Imagine.
He could have said, by the way, even me, I'm a seed of God, by the way, hakuna kitu unaniambia. I'm not even a demigod. I'm more than, he's more than a demigod. So, but he recognized the importance of knowledge. The importance of knowledge. And I think the other thing is that he honored his mom.
Yeah.
Because his mom is the one who actually pushed him to go and look for a guru. So it's like the mind also is in honor of the life itself. It's in honor of life, and it's going the way life is leading it. A mind on the journey of transformation does not go against life. It goes according to the way life is going. And so, as it's honoring life, then time is teaching it, you know? Time is teaching it. And so, that's where we reached our story, or rather, that's where we want to reach our story for this particular video. But think about your mind, your own mind, yourself. Have you ever even thought about your mind as something that's separate from you? Or have you been thinking you're your mind? Like, how has that experience been? And also, look at how your life has been and look at it from the perspective of that it's the journey of the soul back to God, and the mind is facilitating that process to happen. How has it been for you? Like, what are the themes you're seeing that surround the transformation of your mind? Is there any beliefs that are changing around you? You're just the way you are like 20 years ago, believing the same things that you haven't even confirmed for yourself, like you're afraid to even confirm whether what you believe is aligned to you or not? Like, what has your story been?
Before you leave, there's something else you said about Anjani, other than the fact that Hanuman was honoring her because he was the mom. We also said that Anjana was Anjana is the soul, and the soul is the one that's telling the mind, oh, by the way, I recognize the power that you have, the potency.
Yeah.
I need you to take me back home.
Yes.
So the mind is serving. If the mind if Hanuman would have just gone untransformed, it would never have taken Anjani back, or the soul back to God. But now that's why she knew, this is the only way out. This is the only way out. So let me try and give this boy as much advice. So that's why she recommended him to go to a guru, for the guru to give the knowledge. And then after now Hanuman, we will see later that he was completely transformed. He was able to now take back the soul to God. That's the only way out.
And then remember also, Anjana knew that this is not just another child. This is Shiva. You understand? So her knowing that this is the divine, it's like life itself knows that the mind is the divine manifested in this way. And so in service of God, it leads you to the knowledge of remembering who you are and what you're here for, you know? So it's like your soul knows that you are divine, and the mind is supposed to serve you, because the mind itself, the soul recognizes the divinity of the mind.
That's new.
Yeah.
What you said. I don't think that has ever been said before. The soul recognizes the divinity of the mind.
Yeah. And that's why it's like guiding the mind to its transformation, because it's a divine union inside of you. When the soul and the divine merge within, then everyone is home. You know, the mind is transformed. It recognizes that it's an eternal servant of the divine. The soul gets back home into its union with God. And that's the ultimate goal of life, you know.
That's the goal of life.
That's the goal of life. And that's why the guru comes in, because the guru is the missing link.
That's why it is indispensable to have a guru to go back home.
Yeah.
You cannot not have a guru. I don't care what people say. It's in this story, it's self-making sense. It's not a thing we say, oh, have a guru, have a guru. It makes sense. You have to have someone to give you that knowledge.
Yeah.
To get you back home. That's why we were saying,
and
Jesus said, what did Jesus say? I'm the way, the truth,
and the life.
In a longer life, say light. Okay.
It's life.
The way, the way. And the life. Yeah.
And you know now, guys, people think, seekers think knowledge is information. It's not. Knowledge is not information. What we are talking about is not like what you're told by someone or you read in a book. That's not the knowledge we are talking about. It's not even like the stuff you read in the scriptures and you understand with your mind. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about knowledge that arises from experience. That's why Surya was Hanuman's guru, because time teaches you through experience. The guru teaches you through experience. Our guru has been giving us experiences. You get an experience and then inaingia hapa. You know, it's like something that you've been telling yourself conceptually. For example, love your neighbor. It's something you've been told and you've been doing because it's written in the Bible, because it's the right thing to do, it's the politically correct thing. But has it ever sunk inside of you that actually you really need to love your neighbor? It's an experience that will bring you there.
It's 33 years and I only learned about that concept today morning when you were explaining that thing. I'm like, oh my God, I have
About
been loving
love.
God. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been loving God, but I did not think to love my neighbor. Yani not even think, like,
It's like you're
oh
separating
God.
it. At you can love God and not love your neighbor.
Because I assumed that it was an automatic thing.
Yeah.
Today is when I realized loving my neighbor takes a lot of energy, a lot
Yeah.
of time, a lot
And
of
a lot of
compassion,
transformation.
a lot of transformation.
Yeah.
And that's what we were saying we hide from, because I actually have to think more. Loving God is easy. That's why Guruji says people don't want a
Yeah.
real guru, because you can just whatever God and he'll forgive you,
Yeah.
or you'll just make
Yeah.
something up. But
You
dealing
can
with a
conceptualize
human,
it, but a
yeah,
human being, you
have
can, you
to
either
love
like me or not,
yes.
you either love me or not, and it's very clear.
It's
We
very
both
clear.
can tell,
Mm.
you know. So
That's an example.
that's
of
an
real
example of experience, like real experience, and that's the role of the guru. The guru is not a preacher to preach to you and make you understand things with your mind. No, the guru is to impart knowledge, and when you get that knowledge, the true knowledge, in fact, I don't know if it's in the Gita or where it's Krishna who said it to Arjuna. He said that there is one thing to be known, and when you know that one thing, you know everything.
Mm.
And when you don't know that one thing, you know nothing. And that's the truth of who you are. That's the knowledge. That's the true knowledge that he imparts. That's the true knowledge that a guru imparts. So,
Explain your part. Kabla tuende tu, because this might be the one thing that the Jesus thing, the one he said the way. Ebu explain it the way you had explained it.
we were talking about the way.
The life.
Like the way, people think the way like barabara.
Mm.
You know, that's what the way barabara. No, that's not the way he was. That's not the way he meant. He meant, you see, like the way you say, this is the way to make ugali. Like the format or the process or the the system or that's the definition of the way.
Yeah.
And I think he meant the Christ consciousness. That
It's a
state
level
of being.
consciousness. Yeah.
That state of being is the way.
Yes.
You understand? That state of being is the truth. That state of being is the life. How can you get to that state of being? How can you be a doctor if you've never been taught and trained by a doctor? How can you get to that state of being christened, of being awakened? By reading a book, by listening to someone. You can't. You have to get an experience, because remember, it's a state of being. It's like waking up. Waking up is a state of being. Sleeping is another state of being. So somebody who wakes you up has to be awake themselves. So that's what the guru does. Like, he's bringing you to your full awareness of who you are, to God realization, if he's a Sat Guru. And he does that because he's there himself. He has gotten it. He is giving what he has. And so,
Or even if they are able to learn from other gurus, because gurus are many, like Dattatreya was saying, his guru can be birds.
it's
nature.
a principle,
Yeah,
actually.
you're the one who was saying it's a
Yeah,
principle.
the
So
guru
if
is
you
a
have-
principle.
Yeah, if you get that concept of the guru as a principle, you
Yes.
can learn, you will go through an experience.
Because it's experiences.
Yeah.
Like, you will know that there's a principle, there's a God principle that is teaching you, that is guiding you. It can come in the form of an animal, a plant, a person, a situation, a thing, your own intuition. Like, it's alive. You're being guided all the time For us, we are grateful and we are fortunate and we are graced to have that principle embodied in a human being that is called Paramahamsa Vishwananda. We are lucky, we are blessed, we are graced. But he's not everyone's guru, obviously. And it doesn't mean that there's people who are left out. No, you just have to follow your path. You just have to commit to getting the true knowledge. Just that call. You see, like when Anjana was doing her austerities to Shiva, that's the soul's longing. Like she was longing to go back home. You need to tap into that. You need to stop being distracted by life and lying to yourself that you're okay because you have money, you're okay because you have people around you. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes every day and you'll start to tap into something deeper. You'll start to tap into another experience. And that experience, if you continue tapping into it, your path will become more and more clearer. But you're still on the path. Even now you're on the path. Yeah.
And now we are on the path.
Yeah, we're on the path. We always have been. Like even as soon as you're born, you are on the path, you know. So it's just being consciously aware of how this path is unfolding instead of just being distracted and thinking that umefika. In my mother tongue, French, we say Turiagedi. Turiagedi. We are going. We are sojourners, yeah. So if you forget that you're a sojourner, you'll start to think you're home.
Right.
And you start to make your home cozy and, you know, your visa is about to expire. So start planning
we're
to
talking
go
about
home.
death in the morning and
Yeah.
how it's if you don't prepare yourself, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's a
Very
tough
tough.
moment.
It's a moment
it's a
to
tough
start
moment.
thinking about the things you've been dwelling, your mind has been dwelling on. The power of the mind can be used to be destructive or it can be used to be constructive. It can help you attain the goal of your life if you now start identifying it, or it can be used to just keep you down there. So daily hit me, I feel like after that realization dawned on me, I looked at my life and I was like, oh God, my mind has been working powerfully to make my life miserable.
Yeah, it's like it could go both ways, by the way.
Yeah, it can. And in the Gita, Krishna, now it makes sense. Krishna says the mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It makes sense. Now my mind has been
It's
being
God
my
and
worst
it's the devil.
enemy.
It can be asuric,
Yes.
and it can be like...
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
We think the real devil is not out there. Satan is not out there, or debatable. But the devil is not out there. The devil is inside us as our
the
mind,
untamed mind.
as the untamed, as untransformed mind. Because that is what has brought us so much misery. Because it's the way my mind interprets my life or my reality and comes back and tells me, "Wow, unaona vile ni kubaya. Let us control this shit. Let us. And then I keep feeling bad and bad and bad all the time. That is when my mind is working against me. It has worked successfully. It needs an award. I'm going to write an award because it has successfully ruined my life. So I feel I think in the analogy of Hanuman, I think I'm at the point of reaching for the sun.
Yeah.
And I think now, today is when now Anjana is like, okay, I think, or maybe in 2019 is when Anjana was like, if we continue on this path, it's gonna not work.
Yeah.
So let's find you a guru. Then my guru says our soul is the one that calls to him. She said that. So my soul really called to my guru, and then my guru came. And now 6 years later, I am in the path of learning. So we are now walking backwards.
Yeah, we are walking backwards.
It's hard. It's fucking hard.
It's so hard, guys. It's so hard.
But it's better hard than the hard I had before. I'm noticing now, according to that analogy, that at the point we are at right now, or at least I'm at right now, I'm at the point where my mind is a bit quiet. My mind is a bit subdued. Now I understand things, like I understand the purpose of life. I understand why we are being given sadhanas to quiet our mind, the japas and the sijui, all the 1 million things we have to do. And because I've been doing them for the last 6-7 years, my mind has quieted. It has quieted down. So I'm thinking the day in the analogy,
it's less savage.
When he was struck on the jaw, I wonder why the jaw. It could have been the head. It could have. So the jaw, because it was something prominent in Hanuman, that must have, I think I'm at the point where I've been struck down and I'm on the floor. And then before now, the CDs start coming. Is it you yesterday who was telling me I have CDs?
Yes, I told you your knees.
Starting to get certain to things like healing or clairvoyance, whatever. I think I'm at that juncture of that analogy where my mind is quiet and I'm starting to be given those powers. Even Guruji says in the sadhana, when you do sadhana, those CDs start coming up. I think it's making sense. Then now after that, I think they're going hand in hand with the guru now, I guess. Or not. Maybe then the guru hasn't started working on us.
And maybe it's not as linear as we think.
That's true.
You know, sometimes we think it's A, B, C, and it's the mind that works like that. Maybe today you got struck, yesterday you were walking around, it's not it's happening at the same time, or it's not, I don't think it's like, you know. So let me tell you what the jaw signifies. The jaw is the seat of speech, sound and expression. So it's the symbol of power and expression. And actually when his jaw was struck, it's like a symbolism of the ego was broken by a divine force.
I think that's what has been.
And that's what happens.
That's what we were talking about, ICUs and our bank accounts and our lives.
Yeah, imagine you're aspiring that high. Like you're like, hey, I'm this, I've got the car.
Yeah.
Then you're like, you have nothing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, taambia nini watu?
That's it.
That's the ego being broken, yeah? And it's also a sort of a silencing.
But now there's nothing to say. What do you say? You keep quiet.
Unangoja divine speech.
You
Yeah, it's like, and it's a real turning point. Like, it's a real turning point. Some of you guys have just been struck.
Go on, let's check it.
And it's a real turning point for you, but your ego has been bruised. Stop trying to fix it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you can try. You try.
Hey, but it shall not end well.
It shall
Don't
not.
try, by the way. Nyamaza tu. Unaona vile tunasemanga Mungu nifunze kunyamaza. Ndio hiyo. Ndio hiyo. Just shh and wait upon the Lord.
Guys, haya.
And then utaanza kwenda reverse, watu wanaongea wako like huyu alikuwa anaenda hivi, siku hizi anaendanga hivi. But what is actually happening?
You know, me used to wonder, God, why have I become so ambitionless? Has it ever occurred to you? I don't know what's
I saw on a YouTube video people saying like, why is it that you become spiritual and suddenly it's like you have no ambition?
Because you're going in
reverse. Because you're going in reverse, Maze. You're learning from time and life itself. And you're like, sometimes you're stagnant, basically. It's like not even going as in stagnant according to how people look at your life. They're like, you're not growing your business, you've even changed. Like, what are you doing even with your life anymore?
I also think that there might be people who might not necessarily have financial issues, but then something might be stagnant in their life, like maybe their relationships,
their health.
There's just something that will be going backwards for you.
And you know what?
Money. For us, it's money.
For us, it's money because probably that was what our aspiration was. Subconsciously, we are like, that tulikuwa tumeenda, by the way, shooting to the skies, and then you're struck, and the very thing you have been identifying with is taken away from you. So it's, by the way, it's the journey of the mind. But guess what, guys? It doesn't matter how long you take to get to this point. You will get. That's the journey of the soul. It doesn't matter which religion you're in, which path you're following. The soul will have to go back to God. There is no way
you can disobey
whatever God came, as in God's intention to bring us back to Him, can fail. God's intention doesn't fail. So it's actually a process. So by the way, better you just know the program. So you just follow that itinerary, you follow. Because the more you run away, you're distracted, you're thinking, oh, this is important, oh, that is important. You'll just be here for another lifetime. By the way, there's no hakuna uhaba wa maisha. There are as many lives as you want to take, you can take.
I mean, it's time.
It's
time.
time.
Is sufficient.
Time is infinite. It's like, yeah, so it's better you just do that, because your soul is really yearning, and your soul will do whatever it takes for you to be on the path. And you better just cooperate. And you see, this emotional healing, by the way, even the program that I've been doing on emotional healing is part of what was happening to Hanuman when he was struck with that thunderbolt. And his dad was throwing a tantrum. He had to heal his jaw. Healing his jaw is what brought him all these powers. You know, when you're doing emotional healing, when you're healing the wounds that you have,
abandonment,
rejection, humiliation, all those
shame,
things.
Guilt, they have been coming on the surface.
Exactly. All these things, as you're healing them, then you start to embody your divine qualities. And as you embody your divine qualities, you get closer and closer and closer to your guru. Because it's the healing process, it's your desire to heal, it's your desire to be transformed and to be redeemed that create an SOS to the guru to come and teach you in whatever shape or format. That's how he comes and starts making meaning of this process that is feeling like Mathawathania for you. You start getting a new meaning, a new understanding, and you start to reduce your resistance to life, reduce your resistance to challenges, reduce your resistance to wounding. It's like now unaanza kukua cooperative. You know, you stop being a noisemaker, you start cooperating, you become, you know, your teacher's pet. Basically.
I also thinking about the life force when Anjan, the wind god, Vayu took that. I could it be at the point where people hit rock bottom and they feel like they are dying.
And then gasp of air.
I just thought about it. If it's not, but it's I can see how that comes.
Yeah, it's like there's a death that happens. You see, the world was suffocating because Vi was like, I'm not blowing in this thing until my son is reinstated, and still my son is, by the way, it's not reinstated until my son is upgraded. So it's like life itself stops for you until you're upgraded. I don't know if you've gotten to that point in life yet, but there's a point in life. I personally attempted suicide. That was the moment when Vi was like, I am not going to blow in this earth again until this mind has been upgraded. And that's when the other gods were like, hey, nikubaya, let us just give them a bit. But then of course there's that curse also of forgetting that you have, because the sages cast Hanuman. They were like, hey, this one is still indisciplined, he's still mischievous. Now with all these powers you guys have given him, see, he's going to be the most powerful destructive being. So let us just make him forget. So there's that forgetfulness that has been cast on the mind, so that it's not aware of who you are. Because Hanuman did not know. By the way, we'll go on with the story. But there's a point Hanuman, people knew that it was only Hanuman who could do something. And he was like, what do you mean? I can't do that. Because he had forgotten he has all these powers, until he was reminded. He was told, by the way, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think to a certain extent, once the Guru has taught us, once the Guru has imparted on us the knowledge that we need, that's why I think it's not linear. I think it's like progressive, back and forth, nini, because sometimes the Guru imparts a certain experience, certain knowledge, and then you have to go and use it somewhere. And you tap into a power that you didn't know you have, a confidence, a wisdom, an insight, a creative aspect of yourself that you didn't know you had. to achieve a certain divine purpose. So that forgetfulness that we have of who we are and what we are capable of is actually strategic. And so if you want to tap into your potential as coaches, that's why people come to us, because they want to tap into their potential. This story tells us, number one, you have to be willing to heal your wounds. Number two, you have to be willing to accept that you need teaching, you need instruction, you need, because sometimes you think that you know everything. You know, your mind lies to you that you know everything. And you might have every knowledge possible in your head, but knowing, you don't know. Yeah, because knowing is something different. And so if you want to tap into your potential, this is part of the journey, because your potential lies in your mind. In your mind is like the door through which your potential comes through. So if your mind is not open enough, your mind is not receptive, your mind is not in alignment to who you truly are, there's going to be an issue there. So, and I feel, for me, like that's where personal development and spirituality merge, because personal development is about that commitment to discovering who you are. It's about how you apply that in your daily life. It's about how how you work with the mind. And when you do that, you realize that our spiritual traditions are that. They're actually personal development, So, yeah, anything else?
Nope. This should last you until the next session.
Please tell us where you are.
Yes.
Have you been struck already?
Or do you have no idea?
Or are you walking backwards? Or have we confused you further?
These people are just consoling themselves.
Yeah.
Because there are people who also think that.
Give us feedback, whatever that is. Positive, negative, neutral, whatever. We are here for it all. As we are walking backwards, we are open. We are learning.
Cool. Until next time.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Bye.